What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Strands and Story. I am Mo, the founder of Ghostly Hair Company, and as you may or may not know, I have been in the hair industry for let me take that back. I have been a licensed master cosmetologist for over 20 years. I've serviced over 30,000 women, so I've seen it all. And Strands and Story is a safe space where we share our stories, our life stories that shape our hair journeys. And today I have an incredible guest. I have Dr. Glory Ngang. She is a published scientist, a health analyst, a bodybuilding competitor, a fitness model, and an entrepreneur.
Yep.
So she is here to share her expertise and help us with, our health, our fitness, our hair journeys, and all that. So let's hear what she has to say. So let's tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey. My name is Dr. Glory, as Mo has just told you. I have been in the fitness industry for since 2013, 2014.
We can tell, girl. Look at
It's been a long
girl.
time. Okay, these muscles have been here a while.
Wow.
My mom had a stroke. That's what caused me to actually get into the fitness industry. Shortly after flying back, I went home to Houston to help her get her life together and rehabilitate and all that good stuff. But her having a stroke was from being overweight. That's what sparked my fitness journey because I didn't want to have the same health outcome as her. So, 2014, I did my first bodybuilding show. I competed in multiple shows. I won first place in my first show, and I remember my coach at the time told me that you need to turn this into your career path.
Okay.
I was not, did not have a background in fitness at all.
Okay.
So I'm a science geek. I'm used to cutting animals open and like learning about cells and stuff like that. Nothing about fitness. So that's literally what
You were a
sparked everything.
doctor before you got into fitness.
After.
Oh,
After.
okay.
So I've been able to actually bring both worlds together. And that's something that I learned when I was in my master's program. I've had a lot of mentors along the way. I feel like God put people in my path that were like, you don't have to separate these two things.
Yeah.
They can come together. So it was the dean of admissions when I was at Georgetown that told me, first of all, he asked me, do I believe in God? And I was like, yeah, why? Because I was like, what you about to say? Like,
Right.
what you about to say? And he was
Right.
like, I think that you should not have to give up your fitness. At the time, I had competed in shows. I was still working out, and I had a fitness blog, and I was working on an ebook, and he knew about it. And he was like, I feel like this is your calling. So you need to figure out how to bring both of these things together.
Wow.
So he was like, I see you in Atlanta. Mind you, I was living in DC, but he's like, I see you in Atlanta helping thousands of women like get healthy and take their health seriously. So you need to figure out how to bring these two things together. And that was in 2015.
So that's going to take me. I had a thought when you said that he asked you that, do you believe in God? And he showed you or told you that he saw you doing these things, but how God will use people
Yeah.
to speak a message to you that you may not even be thinking about, or I'm sure you wasn't expecting it to come from
No, I was
the
scared.
dean, right?
To be honest, because my parents wanted me to follow a very clear path. Like, I'm of Nigerian descent, first generation Americans. Nigerians have about 3 or 4 careers that they respect.
I never knew that.
And anything outside of that is like you are the black sheep. So I was very like, focused on being in the medical field and like that's all I'm gonna do. The fitness thing to them was just like a hobby. So when he told me that, he was like, you don't have to give up either one. You can bring both of those things together. But I was so scared. But I felt like, because my best friend had told me before I even went into my master's program, she was like, fitness is your calling.
Wow.
She's like, I know like you want to get your master's degree and your doctorate and all that stuff. She's like, fitness is your calling. She told me that, and he tells me that. They haven't even met each other.
Yeah.
But both of them are like, this is what you're supposed to be doing.
Yep.
So I was scared because I had to tell my parents, like, hey, I'm basically going to follow my own path. So I'm veering off of what they expect of me to follow something that I felt like God was like constantly putting in my face like this whole time. So
Well, look, I'm glad you followed your calling, right? And did what you wanted to do, right? And not what because our parents will always be in our ear telling us what they think we should do. But yeah, you got to follow your own calling. But that brings me to the question of, first of all, it's hard being a black woman to work out and have cute hair.
Man.
So how are you doing that? How have you been holding up?
Okay. So it's been a journey. When I first got into my fitness, I was wearing sew-ins.
Okay.
But baby, that leave out was hanging on lifeline. Okay. It was struggling. Okay. I was constantly applying heat and like trying to make it look good. But after a while, all that breakage and damage of constantly applying all that heat, I didn't like it. So my hairstylist at the time, her name is Tony Neal. I met her like shortly after moving to Atlanta. She was like, "You should do wigs." And I was like, no.
Yeah.
And this is like right when like wigs were like becoming like a wave again. Because when she said wigs, I immediately thought old lady. And I was like, no, Tony, ain't nobody got no time for no wigs, lady. And she was like, no, let me make you a wig. And, you know, it's going to be cute. And she was like, you could take it off at night and it's going to keep your hair healthy. You don't have to apply no heat to your hair. She was like, just trust me, let me make it.
Yeah.
So I let her make it. And it was cute. I was shocked. It was really pretty. And it was a dark, like black and brown, like long hair, like natural, like kinky curly wig. It was so pretty. Then she told me, I want you to do blonde, like shortly after. And I was like, no, because I was like, I'm gonna look like a blunt. I can't. Like my skin tone and blonde, no. So just keep in mind, I had never worn any color in my hair. And then this is still like at a time where wigs was kind of like you really had to go to somebody that knew what they were doing. Otherwise, you just look crazy.
Yeah.
I let her do it, and since 2016 up until like a couple months ago, blonde was my color. Like people don't know me without people are like, oh my gosh, like it's so pretty, da, da, da. And I was like, I don't know my life. I just switched to being a redhead, but that blonde was like my signature color. From photo shoots to competitions to everything, it was that blonde was the thing.
Right.
But wigs has been a lifesaver because I don't touch my hair. And so having my hair braided underneath the wig, I do glueless wigs. So
that's good. Yeah.
no glue because I want to protect my hair and my edges. I need them.
Right.
So I do glueless wigs. I take my wig off at night. I shampoo my hair once a week. I do, hydration treatments and deep conditioning and all that stuff. And then, to work out and to, keep it the way it looks, those wigs are also taken care of. So I do treatments on the wigs.
So you have a workout wig and a going out wig?
I have a workout wig. I have a going out wig. I have, because I don't want to have to style each look. And then the workout wigs be going through stuff. You know what I mean?
You've been working out
I'm sweating in it. So, I have wigs that I work out in. I have wigs that I strictly go out in. So I don't like to mix the two. But I have a little collection at home.
So y'all hear that? If you want to work out and still be cute, you might want to invest in a wig. I'll do a wig sometimes, but I don't know. Sometimes I start feeling like, you know what? I'm over this wig. Everybody know I'm wearing a wig. I need something that looks more natural.
Yeah.
But I go back and forth. Right now I'm doing the sew-in. This is working for now. Well, but we got to hope that my leave out stays healthy looking.
Yeah, that's my thing.
That's the struggle, right?
Yeah.
So me and you, we've had some talks in the gym, right? And you always touch on how the hormones play a role in not only weight loss, but also our hair as well.
Yeah.
So can you touch on that a little bit? Because I know you're really knowledgeable about that.
So hormones play a role in hair loss and hair growth. So two hormones in particular that play the role when it comes to those two things are testosterone and estrogen. So testosterone, when you have really high levels of testosterone is converted to a compound called DHT. So you'll see that when you look up supplements, you'll see DHT. It stands for dihydroxy testosterone. It's just the testosterone with the extra hydrogen attached to it.
But how will we know if, as a woman, we have too much testosterone?
Hormone tests.
Okay.
And there's also signs. So when it comes to testosterone and DHT, the DHT binds to the hair follicle and it shrinks it. So that shrinkage is what causes the shedding and the thinning of hair, in particular around the center part and around the crown of the head.
Yep.
So when women start to thin around there, that's a sign of hormonal imbalance when it comes to having high levels of testosterone. That's typically where you're going to see that thinning in that area of the head.
And it's funny you say that because I feel like a lot of clients that I have seen, when they start having that hair loss, if it's in the crown, I always used to assume that it's something hereditary. But you're mentioning hormones, which I never thought, right?
Yeah, so That is also part of it. So there is hereditary hair loss. So you can look through your lineage and see if your mother or your father, because a lot of people think it just comes from, either mom. Maybe my mom had thinning, but you can also inherit it from your father. So it just
Right.
depends on who has it. But it can be hereditary, but also increased levels of testosterone cause the thinning in that area.
Okay.
So the crown, the center part, sometimes like around the temple, and then women that have alopecia typically have high levels of testosterone as well to accelerate the alopecia that they have on their scalp.
So how does that impact? Okay, so then let's go back to the weight loss thing. How does too much testosterone affect you being able to lose weight?
So in context of too much testosterone and weight loss, doesn't really have that kind of an effect.
Okay.
What it does do, typically you'll see high levels of testosterone in women that have PCOS. So women that have PCOS have insulin resistance. So when you have insulin resistance, that's what causes your blood sugar to be high. That's what causes you to gain weight. You'll have weight gain in your belly area. You'll eat carbs and you'll balloon. They're on diets that are low in carbohydrates, high in proteins, high in healthy fats, because their body's response to carbohydrates is drastically different from someone that does not have insulin resistance.
Got it. Okay, and then PCOS. I see this a lot, like
Mm-hmm.
on social media. I knew somebody close to me that mentioned they had PCOS, but the way it affected them was their mood, right? But then I see women on social media, they have a lot of the facial hair and stuff like that. But you're saying it may not make your hair come out, it'll just cause you to grow more hair.
So the thing with PCOS is it's not a linear condition. One woman's PCOS, it can be completely different from another woman's. It just depends on her specific symptoms. So one woman, it may be that she has fertility issues. Another woman may be that she has irregular periods and facial hair. So this spectrum of symptoms is wide because it's varying different depending on the hormonal imbalances that they have.
Got it.
So it's just different. You may have a woman that has high levels of testosterone and she has facial hair that's going around her jawline and she's thinning at the top of her head.
Okay.
And high testosterone can do that. You can have two different outcomes where hair is growing very coarsely around your jawline and then thinning at the top of your head all at the same time, all because of high testosterone levels.
Got it.
And then you have another woman that maybe has irregular periods, or she's going 3 and 4 months in between periods. That's not regular, but her testosterone levels may be normal.
So, but so if they're experiencing those type of issues, what I know you say you can go get testing for it. So
Yeah.
you go get tested, or are they gonna like recommend you like supplements or?
So with PCOS, it takes a while to be diagnosed. It's not like an immediate, like you can go get a test and they know, because it's a collection of symptoms. They're looking at multiple things. So you want to get serum, blood, and urine samples done. You want to make sure that you look at your glucose, your fasting glucose, your A1C as well. All of these things are going to tell your primary care provider or your OBGYN how your body is performing when glucose is put into your body.
Got it.
Is the insulin being taken up? Is insulin doing what it's supposed to do when you eat carbs? If it's not, then that's an indicator of you might have PCOS. So it takes time. Some people may take a year, 2 years, 3 years for them to definitively say that you have PCOS. Some people have outright like symptoms. The hirsutism, which is the facial hair, is an outright symptom of PCOS.
Okay.
So it takes a while, depending on the number of tests that you get done, to be diagnosed with it. So typically, when you hear women say like, "Oh, this sounds like me," or "I've been dealing with this and I don't know, I might have it, I might not have it," I always tell women, please go get tested.
Right.
Go get your hormones tested by your OBGYN. There are specific hormones that you want to get tested so that you know if you are out of range, within range, and if you're in range, is it optimal?
Okay.
Because your estrogen level may be optimal for you, but it may be out of range. It may not be optimal for me, even though we may fall within the same range and can be considered normal. That may make you feel tired and lethargic. I might be, fine, even though our estrogen levels are the same. So it's very important that you go get tested, sit down with your medical care provider and say, okay, this is what's happening. These are my symptoms.
Okay. So what are the symptoms that most women are experiencing before they go and say, okay, I need to get checked out?
Irregular periods,
Okay.
facial hair, hair thinning, weight gain, particularly here. So, especially women that are working out and they're eating right and they're still not getting the outcome that they're looking for. So, if you're not losing any weight and you feel like I am killing myself, but the weight is not budging, that is a sign that it might be more than just the food and the exercise.
Okay.
You see women that are doing 2-a-days and they're doing cardio and doing a lot of HIIT exercises and they're stressed out, lack of sleep, mood swings. What else? Infertility.
Okay.
So that's a really big one as well. So pelvic ultrasounds typically help with the doctor looking at your ovaries to determine if you have any cysts on your ovaries. That is also a sign of polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is what PCOS stands for.
Okay.
So a pelvic ultrasound is also going to give your doctor a better idea of what's going on with you.
So let me ask you this. Okay, so what about, a lot of us will put going to the doctor off, right? What are some things that maybe they can start doing differently at home that can, I don't know, just kind of
Help
make it
reduce.
better? Yeah.
Well, okay. So again, it still depends on the symptoms, on what it is that they're dealing with. But I always tell my clients, slow mornings. I get up really early, not because I have to, but because I want to, because I don't like getting dressed or getting prepared for my day under stress.
Yeah.
So some people wait till like the last minute and it's like you are running all over the place and you are stressed out.
Let me tell you, have kids and that's going to be the rest of your life, okay? Because
Let me tell you about that.
I am always like,
Yeah.
in my mornings, my anxiety is like this. And as soon as the kids get out the car, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
So
my best friend told me, like, she was in a similar situation where she felt like it was stress, and she was like, and then she's looking at her kids and they're stressed.
Yeah.
So she was thinking, like, I can only imagine how they feel. They're stressed going to school, and I'm stressed getting them out of the door to go to school.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, what time are you waking up? She was like, well, I wake up at like 6. And I was like, okay, well, let's wake up at like 5.
Not if
And she was like,
if the
no.
kids keep you up all night. You can't wait. If the kids, you're trying to make them go to sleep at 9 o'clock, but they don't fall asleep till 11 or 12. What you mean? Get
What
up
they
at
doing?
5? Girl, the kids just be up. Have kids. You gonna see, girl.
Oh, no.
Girl, they just be up. Kids do what they want to do.
I encourage an early bedtime. I will say that. Send the kids to bed.
Okay.
I encourage an early bedtime for kids, but I also encourage the parents to get up an hour before the kids have to get up.
Yeah.
You have your time to address you. That's a lot more calming and soothing if you can calmly get ready and answer to yourself before you got to start answering to people.
Yeah.
No, even if it's them, you'll just feel a lot better. When I told her to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, she was like, it was just that fast. And she was like, I don't know what I was thinking, but that's like the best, that hour just,
Really?
She was like, even though like, obviously some people are not morning people, they don't want to get up. But she was like, it made a huge difference in how she felt. And then she was actually with her kids getting them ready versus like running downstairs to go get breakfast and go do 20 other things. And she's leaving them upstairs. Yeah. If you leave kids to get dressed, you can't trust that they're going to put on the right clothes or they playing games or on an iPad or whatever. But that hour made a huge difference to where she felt prepared to start her day because she addressed herself before addressing them.
Okay.
So I always tell my clients, slow mornings, because that sets the tone. No devices when you're going to sleep. So no laptops, no screens an hour before you go to bed. Because people are like, oh my gosh, I can't fall asleep. And oh my gosh, I'll be up all night. I'll be trying to go to bed while you're scrolling
on Instagram.
Just scrolling. And I'm like, yeah, how you going to go to sleep when you're scrolling?
I know. It's so hard.
Yeah. No screens an hour before you go to sleep. Let's see, what else? I know for me, when I am stressed, I talked about this on social media. There's cortisol. And that's a really big hot topic on social media as well as a hormone cortisol when you're stressed. Cortisol is not inherently bad. It is there for you when you are stressed out. It's really high in the morning naturally because it helps you focus in the morning, helps you be alert. But it's also released when you're in a fight or flight. So it keeps you like this. If your cortisol is high, you'll be like this at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. You can't go to sleep. You just like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of people are like that because their lives are really stressful. So there's supplements that help with lowering your cortisol. It typically has like rhodiola, ashwagandha in it. You can get on Amazon literally and type in cortisol support. Take a cortisol support supplement to help you relax and wind down at the end of your day. Do not take it at the beginning of the day because you will be no good.
Okay.
But take it at the end of your day, about an hour before you really intend to go to sleep. It's going to help you calm down. You should feel like you're floating almost, right? You can go lay down, no phones, read a book, not a digital one, but like a real book. That's going to help your eyes relax. That's going to help your body calm down. That's going to be able to put you to sleep calmly. So
Okay, so what it sounds like is keep our stress levels low.
Yeah.
That's what we need to focus
yeah,
on.
I think we're dealing with stressors now in our society, our economy, everything that 5-10 years ago we weren't dealing with. Things that we're thinking about, from kids to finances to businesses to responsibilities and duties
Right.
that a lot of people are losing their mind over. So
Right.
doing everything that you can to kind of slow things down reduces your anxiety, it keeps your mood balanced, you'll just feel better. So yeah.
All right, so what are your thoughts on relaxers, some of the products that we use? Like, how is that possibly impacting our hormones?
So, unfortunately or fortunately, I am not a fan of relaxers. Our government has not done a good job of regulating what companies can and cannot put into relaxers. And there are these compounds that are in them called endocrine disruptors. So, these endocrine disruptors mimic our hormones. So, like, think of them as like fake hormones.
Oh, really?
So, when you apply your relaxer to your scalp or you inhale it, your body absorbs it and it starts to interfere with some of the processes that are going on inside of your body. So recently, within the past 3 to 5 years, studies have come out. I know this year there's been like
We've been seeing a
a lot of studies come out that are talking about how relaxers are linked to uterine cancer, breast cancer, early onset of puberty,
Yeah.
uterine fibroids. I mean, it's bad.
The list
So,
goes on,
and it's just now. I mean, like, I remember growing up, going to the beauty salon when I was little with my mom.
Yeah.
And we were getting relaxers like every 6 to 8 weeks.
Every six, faithfully. But you know what? That brings me to a story. So when I first started doing hair, this was back in 2005.
Yeah.
I think I got my license 2005. We did a lot of relaxers then. But I also had a group of women who did not get relaxers. And so I was the type that I only got relaxers twice a year.
Okay.
So I eventually was like, you know what? I don't think I need this because I like to get hair color. And I knew I had to pick between hair color or relaxers. I opted for the hair color because I had my blonde hair and I wasn't giving that up, right? Yeah. So my clients realized that, oh, you're natural. Maybe, your clients do whatever you do.
Yeah.
They kind of follow in your footsteps a little bit. They trust you.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, maybe y'all should start growing y'all relaxer out. But we all think, oh, my hair is so nappy. I need a relaxer. I can't go without one. Well, I eventually convinced my entire clientele to go natural. I stopped buying relaxers. We don't offer relaxer services here. I have not offered a relaxer service in about 19 years. I did it my first year, but that was it. But I don't buy it, don't offer it. And look at it now. Like, all these studies are coming out talking about how it's linked to cancer. And I'm like, I'm so glad I did not do
Years
that.
later. And I mean, like, slathering it on, you know what I mean? And just getting them, like, on a regular basis.
And we would let it burn. And we like, I want it to be straight.
Yeah.
Just let it burn. Scalp be all peeling and
The study I looked at 30,000 women between the ages of 35 and 74. The ones that reported getting a relaxer twice a year or over a 5-year period were at a 50% higher risk of developing uterine cancer than women that did not get relaxers.
Okay.
So it's just bad. These endocrine disruptors that they're putting inside of not just relaxers either, shampoos, leave-in conditioners, hair conditioner. They label it under something like a fragrance. So like sometimes you look at the label, you don't even really know what you're getting.
I don't know some of them. That none of that stuff would be on a lot of these labels. But I'll be like,
and the problem is it's banned in other countries. Oh. So like you can go to like Europe and there's stuff that they will not allow hair companies to put these products that they're putting in our stuff here. You can't do that over there.
Wow.
But the United States, loosely regulated, no oversight. So they're just pouring all of these disruptors into these products. And something else that I saw as well, Black women you walk into like a Target or a Walmart, you'll see the word paraben that's labeled on your shampoo or your conditioner. There's more products that are paraben free for white women than there are for black women.
Wow.
So their options of not having these disruptors in their products is a lot higher. So the likelihood of me going in and picking up something off the shelf that is going to have that compound in it is a lot higher because I don't have the options. These companies are just putting it in there.
Right.
Paraben free, I don't think most people know what that really means when you see that label on there. But that's really important because anything that's sitting on your hair oils, leave-in conditioner, shampoo, conditioner, all that stuff is sitting on your hair and your scalp is absorbing it.
Yeah.
So you're not thinking like, oh, this could eventually lead to all the health outcomes of, fibroids or whatever. You're not thinking that. You're just thinking, I just want to, get my hair done, or I want to take care of my hair. These hair companies are not thinking like that.
No,
unfortunately. But yeah,
they worried about the money. They don't really care.
And it's marketed towards us. That's the problem. Is it can be done if they're marketing these paraben-free products to white women in their products, and it's labeled, and they have more options than we do. They can do the same for us.
Okay, so I left this one out. I should have asked you. So the parabens, do you feel like, because you said, white women, they have a lot of products that are paraben free. However, black women, we don't. You think that's on purpose?
Yes, I do. There are a lot of disparities when it comes to specific products that they market to us versus what they market to them. Two studies that looked at products that have parabens in them and how black women respond to them health-wise versus how white women respond to them. White women don't have as an aggressive response to parabens being in their products as black women do. So everything from estrogen-dependent breast cancer, the way that black women respond to that from taking in these parabens from these products is a lot more aggressive compared to a white woman. And a lot of these companies are aware of that. But what we are not aware of is that what is it that we are consuming? What is it that we're putting on our hair? We can sometimes be caught up in the aesthetic of something and not be worried about, like, is this actually harmful to my body? Should I think twice about this? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, no different than like the UV light application. Y'all should question a lot of stuff. That doesn't look like looks like it has a long-term effect that could potentially be harmful to me. Let me be slow to jump on the train of putting a UV light to my head. Let me be slow to hop on the train of, whatever new product that's coming out that's marketed specifically towards us. Because these companies know we spend a lot of money. Black dollars generate a lot in this economy. We're willing to buy, and we will buy, but y'all need to pay attention to exactly what the ingredients are, who is producing it. That's a huge thing. What company, what is their history of the products that they're putting out on the market? And then looking at some of these studies that are coming out, these stories that women are telling. I saw a story of a woman that now has fertility issues because of using relaxers for over 10 years. So she can't have children. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy to think that, you know what I mean? So I do think that it's intentional that they're being careless. I saw where formaldehyde was just now they're just now being told you can't put formaldehyde in relaxers.
That's always been in it.
Formaldehyde is used to preserve dead bodies. Like, why would you know what I mean? Like, even the thought of that is like, why? That's not necessary. You know what I mean? You got to think of a better formulation than to think that formaldehyde is going to be great to put on someone's hair. And not think that there's not going to be a health implication as a result of putting that on your hair. So I definitely think that it is intentional and careless at that. So yeah. It's also tied to, and we want to talk about being intentional. The whole reason that this is a big hot topic is because hair straighteners have been like a thing in our community, having to kind of assimilate to what white beauty standards are. A lot of black people can't walk into their corporate setting with dreads or their natural hair, so they're trying to figure out, how do I operate in this corporate setting or in this work setting without being reprimanded for my hair being in its natural state. Legislation was just passed recently that put legislation in place to protect Black people, from having to deal with some of the prejudice and some of the rules that they put around, like what your appearance is when you come into work.
Right.
So I mean, I've seen men have to cut their dreads, or they have to have a certain haircut. They can't grow a full, like, so many restrictions on how Black people just naturally look, and us trying to assimilate to the white standard of what we're supposed to look like, whether it be straight hair, blonde, like whatever. Those standards have health implications on us by us applying straighteners to our hair so that we can look a particular way at work.
Not only health implications, but just mental, like just
Yeah.
not feeling accepted just because, I mean, my hair is natural. I was born like that. Like, what do you mean I
Yeah.
can't come to work like this?
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, that's the sad part. But girl, though, that's another conversation right there. I had another question for you. I've been seeing these UV light extensions. Like, they look so natural. They laying the hair onto your strands, and they putting this like real invisible glue on it, but then they're putting the UV light on it. So it's new. I'm an advocate of, I'm gonna let something be around for at least 5 years
Who all
before
over
I
there
try
first
it.
before I come
Yeah, I'm gonna let y'all try it first before I do it. And then y'all can come and tell me how it is.
Yeah.
And then, I'll consider trying it. But what are your thoughts on that?
It's a no for me. I feel like we're just now finding out about relaxers, and y'all want to hold a UV light to your scalp. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we do it to our nails.
Well, but this
It's
to
so
my
close to your brain.
it's so I'd rather wait. Let's see what the long-term effects are, and then typically with anything that's new, stylists need to be properly trained on how to do that. I've seen stylists jump on waves from like micro links to I-tips to K-tips, and people's hair are falling out left and right because they are not properly trained or qualified to actually do the technique. So with UV light, I would want to wait to see what are the long-term effects of holding a UV light to your scalp over a long period of time, and then how is the health of the hair? Because from what I understand, it's not a protective style. It is just if you have breakage or you want to fill in any kind of like, short patches or anything like that, it's really good for that.
Right.
So it's not even like a protective style that's going to help with the health of your hair.
Right.
So it just seems like something that to me is not worth exposing yourself to. But I would want to wait and see what the long-term effects are of
Right.
that. Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. So, last thing before I let you go, can you give us any recommendations on like supplements that we could take for overall health or hair health? Or what are your top supplements that you just must take?
Something that I tell a lot of my clients, if they're dealing with hair loss or hair thinning, well, first I recommend a hormone test so that you know where your hormones lie.
Okay.
But in terms of like, if I were to say like, hey, take this supplement, it'd be two things. One is called a DHT blocker.
Okay.
You would take that twice a day with food, and that will help internally with reducing your testosterone, the DHT levels.
Okay.
But that's not the only thing. You also want to apply it topically. So there's two, right? So you have orally that you would take, and then you have a DHT topical, like a serum almost.
Where do you apply it?
You apply it to the areas that are thinning.
Oh.
So the areas of your hair that are thinning at the crown or at the center part is where you want to do that twice a day for at least 90 days. After 90 days, you can start to decrease to once a day. But you want to do that for at least a 90-day period. So you're attacking that DHT from two areas, topically and internally. So that's a supplement that I would recommend for women that are dealing with hair loss in those areas.
Okay.
And then also vitamin D. Vitamin D, I recommend. It's just a baseline supplement. A lot of us tend to be very deficient in it. You need about 2,000 to 3,000 units a day. And you could take it through pill or the liquid form if you're wanting to absorb it a lot quicker.
Yep.
But vitamin D, for sure, it has a role in several processes within our body, very important ones, but we tend to be very deficient in it. So those would be the 2 or 3 supplements that I would recommend for hair health.
And it's funny you say vitamin D because my OBGYN, she be on me about taking my vitamin D. She was like, you won't have BV, you won't get yeast infections. And she said, honestly, most people that she tested, they have high vitamin D levels. They're less likely to even get like cancer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm with you on the vitamin D, but I've also heard that you need to take magnesium in order for the vitamin D to
be absorbed better.
Yeah.
That's true. There's other complementary supplements that you can take. Vitamin C is one of them that also helps with absorption. That you can couple with another supplement to help your body absorb it better. But yes, I've heard that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So y'all hear that? DHT, a vitamin D. That's going to keep your hormones level at bay. That's going to help with your hair. If you're having hair loss, that's going to definitely help with it. But yeah, this was really good.
This was great.
So let us know, let everybody know where they can find you on social media, you know.
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram at glorygoals_. You can find me on, let's see, my website, which is drgloryinyang.com. You can book a free consultation with me if you want to get your hormones balanced and get in shape. And that's it.
All right, y'all. So that was it for Strands and Story. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Make sure you follow Ghostly Care Company, but also follow Strands and Story. And I will see you guys on the next episode.